Welcome back, scholars. Hey, let's read this multi-step problem here. 3 pumpkins and 2 squash weigh 27.5 pounds, or 27 5/10 pounds. 4 pumpkins and 3 squash weigh 37.5 pounds, or 37 5/10. Each pumpkin weighs the same as the other pumpkins. So each pumpkin weighs the same amount. And each squash weighs the same amount, or each squash weighs the same as the other squashes. So all the pumpkins weigh the same, and all the squashes weigh the same. How much does each pumpkin weigh, and how much does each squash weigh? Well, you're probably saying, I don't know. But thank God I got the R out of Ruby's marked out. So now we're going to go ahead and underline, and I would underline that 3 pumpkins and 2 squash weigh 27.5 pounds. And then the next thing I would underline is 4 pumpkins and 3 squash weigh 37 pounds. I also know that pumpkins weigh the same as other pumpkins, and squashes weigh the same as other squash. So I need to find out. My questions are, so far I've barfed off a little bit, so let me go ahead and tell you what I barfed up. So I already know that this pumpkins weigh the same, and so do the squashes. Now I just need to find out which each pumpkin weighs and what each squash weighs. So how are we going to do that? Mr. Get It as visual. So I'm going to do my 3 pumpkins and 2 squashes here. A pumpkin, a squash, a pumpkin, a squash, and a pumpkin. That weighs 27.5 pounds. Now the next portion says I got 4 pumpkins and 3 squashes. So I'm going to do pumpkin squash 1, pumpkin squash 2, pumpkin squash 3, and that leaves one more pumpkin, which is right here. But you know what? It's almost the same as this up here, except for I added the squash and the pumpkin. That total is 37.5. What can I do to find out? If I look at this here, what do I do to find out what the difference is? Excellent. Yes, I subtract. So I'm going to subtract 37.5 by 27.5, and I get 10 pounds. So now I know that 1 pumpkin and 1 squash equals 10 pounds. Very important, because you know what? If I go up here, 1 pumpkin and 1 squash, that's 10. And another pumpkin and another squash, that's another 10. 27.5 minus 10 will give me how much that pumpkin weighs, right? So let me see what I did over here on the side. So if 1 unit weighs 10 pounds, okay, that's right here. So 1 unit equals 10. Then 2 units equals 20. How can we write an equation to solve the problem? Pausing the video here. Yes, we can say we have 2 units, which is 20, plus P equals 27.5. 20 plus P equals 27.5. So what does P equal? Well, P equals 7.5. Excellent. Good job. Now that I know that a pumpkin weighs 7.5, can I find out how much a squash weighs now? Yes, I can. What can we do? Excellent. Yes. 1 pumpkin equals 7.5 pounds. So we can take the 10 pounds we have here minus the 7.5. That gives us 2.5 left over for the squash. So 1 squash weighs 2.5 pounds. So guys, that's a good way of solving that. That brings us to our classwork. You're going to have 10 minutes to get this one here. And we're going to be talking about convertibles and trucks. They're actually toys, But we're still talking about convertibles and trucks. So go ahead and find out. I'll see you in the next video.